The second that I saw that our small town where we recently moved was hosting a community sing-along, I was like, that sounds amazing. I am all in. Now, let's be clear, I'm not what we'd call a skilled singer. My husband teases me that I actually have the talent of being able to sing one song in many different keys effortlessly and unknowingly. But the idea of singing in a group sounded so amazing. And, we all have that inner rock star in us that wants to come out every once in a while, so I signed us up. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to be a part of our new community. I'm going to make some new local friends. Yes! And then, how it is, the day of the event, you're like, oh, who signed me up for this? Why did I think that was a good idea to go do something I'm terrible at with people I don't know? No, I'm just so tired. I don't want to be doing that. All I want to do is just stay home in my sweats on the couch. Now, I still wanted the outcome of that potential night out, this feeling of belonging to my community and the chance to make new local friends. But I wasn't so keen on the effort it was going to take to get there. Most of us aren't. And unfortunately, it's leaving most of us lonely. I'm a friendship expert who has been for over 15 years studying and researching and facilitating relationships, writing 3 books, and speaking on the power of science of bonding. And so I've had what you could call a front row seat to watching our loneliness numbers continue to climb and escalate. Our US Surgeon General recently announced that we are in an epidemic of loneliness. Over 60% of us are lonely on a regular basis. 60%. 1 in 5 of us are lonely all the time. And even those of us who are like, I've got good friends, I'm not that lonely, 75% of us wish our relationships were more meaningful. Our collective loneliness is causing a public health crisis. It's worse than smoking, it's worse than obesity. It's actually shaving almost 15 years off of our life expectancy. 15 years. And the irony is, we're not lonely because we don't know enough people, or because we don't even have some friends, or because we're not likable, or because we don't even know how to do it. There's amazing resources out there on how to make meaningful, amazing friendships. No, we're lonely to a large degree because we don't want to put forth the effort that it's going to take. Now, to be fair, there's a lot that needs to change in our culture and our environment, but even then, relationship building is not instant and automatic. It's not effortless and easy. It's not convenient and comfortable. We have to get off our couches, literally and metaphorically. Because here's the truth, relationships take effort. And today I want to share a framework with you that I'm going to hope inspires and informs you of how you can have greater social health by building on our understanding of our physical health. Because when it comes to our physical health, we understand that we're not going to become more flexible, get stronger muscles, or be able to run further by just sitting back and waiting for it to not take energy. We know that we can't just sit there and be like, good physical health just happened to me miraculously. We know we have to get up and do something about it. And the same is true for our social health. That community, that intimacy, those meaningful connections that we all want so bad, those require an incredible amount of effort. And dare I even say it, a little bit of discomfort. So I'm going to share with you 4 discomforts that I know we all want to avoid, but we all are going to need to accept if we want deeper relationships. The first discomfort, sweat. Yay! I know, we all love getting sweaty. No, but even if we don't, we still understand that it's a natural part of the process of working out and of moving our bodies, right? We don't see sweat as a sign to stop. We don't panic and pull away when we start to perspire. We don't instantly think, oh, this must be bad for me. Whatever I'm doing, I've got to stop right now. We understand that sweat that's how our bodies keep from overheating. The same is true for our social health. If we want to be socially fit, we have to be willing to socially sweat, my friends. And yet so often what happens when we step into relationships and they start feeling a little awkward or kind of confusing, it's kind of hard, or oh, it's too emotional, I don't really do that kind of drama, we say. And as soon as it starts feeling a little bit like this, we let our social sweat, all of those insecurities, those hesitations, those doubts, all those stresses, we start pulling back and listening to them and conclude that this is too hard, this is too much work, and we jump off the relationship treadmill. So for me, that night at the community sing-along, I showed up. Even though my turquoise brand new couch looked so amazing, I showed up to the event. But the whole time I was sitting there worrying. I was like, oh, who's gonna be there? And am I wearing the right thing? Am I gonna have to talk to strangers the whole time? What if I really do need to have a good voice to be here? One could see how easy it would be to want to stay in my sweats at home rather than go out and actually sweat. What about you? What makes you socially sparkle a little bit, where your hesitations kind of jump in and start asking you to pull back? Maybe it's picking up the phone. Maybe it's some of those conversations that you keep meaning to have. Or maybe it's being willing to share your feelings. But here's the truth. When we embrace this discomfort, we also are embracing the opportunity for deeper relationships. So now we're all a little sweaty, but we have to do more. That's only our first discomfort. Our second one is muscle fatigue. And the audience was like, yes, we love muscle fatigue. We understand that if we want stronger, more toned muscles, that we have to actually go past our edges, go past our limits. Sometimes that means heavier weights. Sometimes that means more reps. Sometimes that means doing a new activity. We understand that we have to trigger the physiological process that actually is tearing our muscles a little bit, if you can believe it. It's actually ripping our muscles, damaging our muscles in order to trigger the response that helps our muscles repair bigger and stronger. So we're actually tearing our muscles. We're willing to tear our muscles. Are we hearing this? Like, we're willing to go do that because we value the outcome of being toned. And yet, the same is true for our social health. All the activities that we need to develop stronger, more meaningful relationships, those are activities and actions that can be learned and practiced and improved and nurtured and developed. And yet so often we're just like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's just too hard. But if we want to be socially strong, then we have to willingly choose to go beyond our current social skills. So for me, I was at this event, this community sing-along, and I wanted gold stars just for showing up. Like, hello, I'm here. Like, I should just have friends instantly because I showed up. And yet, I know that I can't just stand in the corner talking to my husband all night and expect friends, right? I actually have to use these little baby social muscles. I have to get out there and strike up conversations with people I don't know. Ugh. It sounds exhausting. And yet, isn't that the point? Exhaust our muscles. That's how they grow. The more we use them, the stronger they get. The more we practice, the better our skills. Where might you be socially flabby these days? Maybe it's in initiating plans with friends, or learning to listen more than we talk, or not withdrawing in conflict. Here's the truth. We have to embrace this discomfort if we want to embrace the opportunity for deeper relationships. All right, so now we're socially sweating, our muscles are sore and fatigued, and now we're coming up to the third discomfort, because if we don't do the third one, it's not enough. I hate to tell you, because one time isn't enough. If we want to be physically healthy, we're going to have to do it repetitively. So my third discomfort I want to share with you is consistent time. Because we know, when it comes to our physical health, you can't just go to the gym once and be like, I expect to have lost 40 pounds. Or we just can't go to one workout a month and be like, why is my body not getting stronger? We understand the value of consistency. We know that that person running a marathon started with 1 mile. That person who's bench pressing their weight started with the bar. That person teaching yoga started with their first class. And what they all have in common is at some point, they committed to consistent time. The same has to be true for our social health. One event isn't going to cut it. One conversation, one invitation. We're going to have to do those things again and again and again and again and again. Again, again, again. Consistent and repetitive time is in fact one of the 3 requirements for all healthy relationships, because we will never feel close to someone that we haven't spent repetitive time with. And so there I am at my social event, my community sing-along, and I'm talking to strangers, and I'm doing all the right things, sweating and working out those social muscles. And yet I know that I can't just talk to people and go home and expect to have friends. I know that I'm actually going to have to figure out a way to meet up with somebody that I meet at this event outside of this event. So you'd be so proud of me because I had a great conversation with somebody who I said, this could be a potential friend. And at the end of our conversation, I said to her, it was so lovely meeting you. Any chance you'd be open to connecting after this event? She said, of course. And I said, okay, yay. So she gave me contact information and I went home and eagerly reached out. What stops you from your regular relational exercises? For most of us, we'd say, oh, I'm just too busy. Busy, 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 busy. We're prioritizing work and kids. We don't see the value. And so we just stay busy. For some of us, it's the ever-present excuse of like, well, the ball is in their court. I did it last time. And for many of us, it's fear. It's fear of looking like we care too much. Fear of being rejected. But here's the truth. We have to embrace this discomfort if we want to embrace deeper relationships. And so now we have talked about participating even when it makes us sweaty, practicing even when our muscles are sore, and prioritizing time even when we're busy or nervous. But I want to address the fourth discomfort with you because for some of us, that is the one that is stopping us from our most meaningful relationships. The fourth discomfort I'd like to offer you is the risk of fear or injury. Because when we move our bodies, sometimes we get achy. Sometimes we're sore. Sometimes we're stiff. Sometimes we get hurt. Let's be honest, injuries happen. My girlfriend actually broke her ankle just walking across her front yard. Not all accidents can be avoided. And yet none of us would say to her, yeah, you should not have been walking. That was a dumb idea. That was very dangerous, very bad, very bad. She ended up needing surgery, a cast, and a lot of physical therapy. But the goal the entire time, when she's doing all those things, was to heal her, to get her back out doing the very thing that caused her to hurt herself in the first place. They wanted her to walk again. No doctor ever said to her in that entire process, you know, we're actually thinking maybe we should keep the cast on you the rest of your life just to make sure you don't break this ankle again. The same is true for our relational injuries, my friends. At the age we all are, almost every single one of us have been relationally disappointed and hurt and injured. We've had boundaries crossed and secrets betrayed and hopes shattered. We've been disappointed and rejected and judged. But the same is true for our physical injuries as is our relational injuries. We can't make the mistake of concluding that either, well, I guess I shouldn't have been that trusting, I guess I shouldn't have been connecting, I guess I shouldn't have shared my love. We can't conclude that the activity was wrong just because it hurt us. And likewise, too many of us have put casts on. We have put walls up. And we think it's okay to go through life I'm just staying safe for the rest of my life, keeping the cast on. But the goal of a broken heart is the same as a broken ankle. And that is to do the active work of healing, to get you back out doing the loving and connecting as quickly as is safe. So I reached out to that potential friend, and she wrote me the very next day and we're best friends. I wish. No. Do you know, I never heard from her. And I just want extra brownie points because I reached out again. And I still didn't hear from her. It would be easy for me to conclude that she didn't like me, that I shouldn't have put myself out there, that going to events doesn't work. Fortunately, in this situation, my muscles might be a little sore, but I'm going to go back to the gym. But no surgery or physical therapy is necessary in this situation. But what about all the other times that we've had bruised egos and broken hearts? Some of you might have injuries that actually need casts or rest or surgery. Some of you might have casts that you've had on for years and you need to take them off, my friend. It's getting gross under there. Several of you might need to sign up for social therapy to increase your relational range and motion. But here's the truth. If we don't embrace this discomfort, we cannot embrace the deeper relationships we want. So I've been asking you to be willing to sweat, to be willing to have sore muscles, to devote consistent time, and to risk injury or pain. Sounds fun, doesn't it? You're like, thank you for this inspiring pep talk, Shasta. But it doesn't have to be that way. Despite all those discomforts, we all still like moving our bodies. We still play sports. We still exercise. We still enjoy activities. We play pickleball and golf, and we go dancing and hiking. We love life. We want to keep moving our bodies. Even though sometimes we get sweaty, get hurt, it takes our time, and we sometimes get hurt. We still do it. Because we value the outcome. The same is true for our social health. Oh, what I want for all of you is the kind of belonging where you feel so seen, so supported, so loved, where you know the experience of making memories and laughing and knowing that people are there for you, that you're accepted. I want that for you. And it is absolutely possible that all of these discomforts can be easy decisions because you so value the outcome of having a life filled with absolute love. So at the very last part of my story where I show up, and you probably aren't going to believe me, but it is true, the song they picked for us to practice and perform that night was none other than Carole King's You've Got a Friend. Kid you not. So there we are all just belting out the song that we've all heard so many times throughout our lifetime, and all of us learning our different parts and harmonies, some people better than others, and just singing our little hearts out, bopping around on stage like we were born to be singers. And the lyrics make my heart swell as I'm like giving my life's work, all of us singing together. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. We all want that friend who will be there, don't we? We all want someone that we can call, whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall. We all want to feel loved and supported and connected. Let's get off our couches, my friends, and let's stop protecting ourselves from these discomforts and instead embrace them, knowing that when we do, we are also embracing so much love that we are absolutely dying for.